Hi everyone, it's Probus time. I've got some new gear to help make the footage of this channel a bit more professional looking. Some new lenses, some new lighting so I don't rely so heavily on sunlight, and these lovely coins of Emperor Probus are the perfect test subject for that experiment. Not only they have this silvering layer that makes them very hard to film properly, meaning if I can make them look good, I can make any other coin look nice, but also because I am always looking for an excuse to show this emperor and his very unique coins. So today I will show you my entire Probus collection. Okay, for this little experimental video, I want your help. I want you to tell me on the comment section, how do you like seeing coins? Is this zoomed in style of footage better? You can see every detail of the coin. Or maybe you like the old style better, where you can get a better sense of the scale of the coin by seeing my hands as well. I personally like this new style better, but your opinion is very important, so let me know. And we start strong with this lovely military bust Probus. So this one is from the Mint of Rome, and well, what can I say? It is beautiful. Some nice little scales on the shield, very well proportioned bust. So I mean, it has this helmet that is morphed into the radiate crown with the crested on the back. The Mint of Rome is very good for Probus's reign. The coins are very well balanced and visually very appealing. And there's quite a bit of silvering left on the fields, which helps enhance its visuals. For the reverse, we have the hexa style temple. So hexa means 6. So we have a temple with 6 columns. At the center of the temple, we have a seated figure of Roma. Around the legends, some very clear Roma Eterna, so the eternal Rome, really nice. And at the exerg, we have a little R representing the Mint of Rome and some little control marks. For the second coin, we have a Parma shield. The Parma shield is this tiny little round shield there, which was used by cavalrymen. So Probus used to be a cavalry commander before he was emperor, so it's a really nice touch. It's a little nudge to back to his time when he used to be in the cavalry corps. Really cool. This one is from the Mint of Serdica. For the reverse, we have the Bicaracta type. Bicaracta means 2 characters. Unfortunately, it's not in such a nice condition, but hey, considering it's a rare coin, I'm gonna take it. So on the right, we have Jupiter, and he's handing a globe to the emperor on the left. And on the legends, we have Clementia Temporum, so the time of clemency, of forgiveness, because, well, basically he just wanted the army to be stable and not revolt, which it actually ended up doing. So this time we have a coin from Cyzicus, and this time this is what we call the consular bust. So Probus is wearing the consular robes, and he's holding a little scepter with a little eagle at the tip. This is a nudge to the Senate. Probus respected the Senate quite a lot, especially compared to the previous emperors who completely disregarded the Senate. And it's another very nice type, and this one is actually much more common, and it's quite nice too because you can see a whole lot of details in his robes. This type was minted at a whole lot of different mints, and on each mint you can see that the details put on the robes is quite different, so pretty amazing type as well. And this reverse is so freaking cool. This is Soli Invicto, the unconquered sun. He is driving a chariot, and the chariot is going right into your direction, you the observer. So as you can see, like, it is about to run you over. The 4 horses from this chariot are running at you, and you can see 2 on each side, so it is about to run you over. Really interesting, really nice little play with perspective. All in all, another must-have for Probus collectors. We then have another consular type, but this time it's from the Mint of Rome once more. So notice if you look at Probus's face, you can actually make an analog with the very first one I've shown, and you can see that the style is typical for the Mint of Rome. But as I just mentioned on the robes, if you look at this example from the Mint of Rome instead of the Mint of Cyzicus, the details on the robes is quite different. Now, notice another interesting thing about this coin in particular. The little green spots you can see, it's interesting. Every time, like, I see a lot of collectors worried about bronze disease on their coins, but there's also this other phenomena which are just normal, stable copper incrustations. And as you can see in this coin, it has quite a bit of it right at the center of the coin. But if you poke at the incrustations with like a little toothpick or something, and it is not brittle, and it is hard like this one, and is this deep green, it's typically just a cupric stable accretion. It can be removed, but frankly, it doesn't bother me too much, and I don't want to damage the coin, so it's going to stay. The reverse, once more, is the hexa-style temple, but this time it has like a completely different set of proportions and all. It's pretty nice. Notice at the bottom, right next to the R of the Roman Mint, it also has a little thunderbolt. The thunderbolt is very typical for the mint mark of Rome. So if you see an Antoninianus of Probus and it has this little thunderbolt, you know it's a Roman mint. As you can see, the reverse has even more of these little cupric things on top of the surface. Don't worry, this is a stable coin. It's just a little bit unsightly, but frankly, the coin looks good, it has a lot of detail, and it doesn't bother me, and it shouldn't bother you too much as well. Next, Ticinum, what is modern day the city of Pavia in northern Italy. Quite a different style. Now Probus is looking to the right. He's wearing his typical spiky little headgear. Notice quite a lot of space dedicated to his cuirass. You can see like the mail, the shoulder pauldrons falling down with some little strips of material. Quite a nice example. And it's interesting that in this coin, as you can see on the obverse, the high spots of the letters and the overall design have been worn off a little bit. So the silvering has just been removed from this part. So the rest of the coin still has the silvering, but it creates this little contrast, this little red versus silvery color. I quite like it. It's quite unique of this coin. On the reverse, we have Providence, or Providentia, as we can see. In this reverse, we can see even more pronounced that little wear from the high points. So all of the devices, the lettering and the character are completely red, while the rest of the coin still retains the silvering. It's a lovely coin. Next, we go to Sischia. This is a more typical bust of Probus. This is probably one of the most common you will see around, right next to the draped bust, which is also quite common. So as you can see, Probus is just wearing his cuirass. He's not holding anything. Doesn't have any particular pose, and the legends are quite simple as well. Imperator Probus Pius Felix Augustus, but overall this piece is just has a massive flan. Nearly all of it's silvering intact, so another lovely example. And typically these normal types are going to be the most affordable ones. So if you're looking to start your own Probus collection and you're trying to get started with the more affordable types, typically look for these plain busts. The reverse once more has Jupiter handing an orb with a little victory to the Emperor. But notice that the silvering in this one is absolutely intact. Like it has like a mirror-like surface. This coin was pretty much untouched. It left the mint and it was dropped in a jar. So this is typically the optimal silvering you're going to want to look at these coins. Of course, it's rare that you're gonna find it so nice, but it gives it a lot of character. It's also really nice that the border around the design, the flan is big enough that it actually encompasses the entire circle of it. It also gives it a nice touch. It makes the coin look hefty, look substantial. We then go to Lugdunum, modern day Leon, another coin with a completely silvered side, in this case the obverse. Lugdunum has its own thing going on. It has its own style, it has its own kinds of legends, of reverses. You can make an entire dedicated collection to Lugdunum. If you look in the upper left corner of this coin, this example has a bit of probably copper deposits on top of the silvering layer, and this copper on top of it, if you notice the green little splotch, it seems to have bronze disease as well. But fortunately, after the making of this video, this coin has been out for proper treatment. So don't worry, this lovely, fully silvered Probus is going to get the love it deserves. The reverse sadly isn't as sharp as the obverse, but that is just the nature of 3rd century coins. Dies were used way past their prime. The priority was given to the side with the emperor's bust, so the obverse. So the reverse dies were just used to oblivion. So as you can see in this case, heavily worn. Although this coin is pretty much untouched, the fact it was struck with a very worn reverse die means the reverse was just simply wasn't imprinted properly. But in any case, in this reverse, we have Temporum Felicitas, one of the most common reverse types for Lugdunum. And then yet another military bust, this time from Serdica. Okay, really different features now. Instead of the fluid, high-quality devices of the Mint of Rome, we have a much sharper image. The lines of Probus's face are much straighter. They don't have a lot of fluidity compared to those of Rome, but it's still a very big, substantial coin. It is nearly fully silvered, and this military bust type is just so appealing that even though it is not as artistically refined as the other types, it's still a very pleasant coin. And Serdica, this mint produced a lot of military busts, so it might be easier to find one of these types if you're looking for a military bust. On the reverse, we have the Adventus, the triumphal arrival of the emperor to a city. So in this case, we have Virtus Probi Augustorum, so the virtue of Probus. So as you can see, he's mounted on a horse, probably entering the city, with the Salutatio Imperii, his hand risen, saluting the crowd, and how rude. The horse is stepping over a captive. These were rough times, so the coins pass a rough message as well. We then go to yet another coin of Rome. This time just a plain cuirassed bust. But look at just how much detail there is in this. And a little detail that I quite like about it is if you look at his Probus's chest piece, you can see there's a little face, a little something right at the middle of it. This is probably a gorgon, so a medusa. They typically put the medusa at the center of the cuirass as a little protective charm. So a really nice coin. It doesn't have like the helmet and the cool features of the military bust, but still a very pleasant type. On the reverse, we once more have the Adventus scene. But this time on the legends, instead of Virtus Probi, the virtue of the emperor, we have the actual ceremony of the Adventus. So we have Adventi Augustorum. Yet another coin of Serdica. Gosh, I have a lot of coins of Serdica. This type is probably one of the most common bust types for Probus. This is just a normal draped type, so he has some draperies over his military cuirass. And as you can see, so Serdica was a little bit further to the east. So as you get to the eastern part of the empire, the style of busts start getting more like these like straight lines. It doesn't have like as many curves, and probably because these coins were made in enormous quantities at these mints. The eastern frontier had a lot of military presence, so the dice just had to make in quick succession. Therefore, you see these more, like I would say, simpler quality dice. If the obverse was mundane, the reverse is really cool. I think, frankly, right there with the Sol Invicto, it's probably my favorite type. you can see the emperor galloping at full speed, and he's spearing a poor little barbarian who's kneeling, asking for mercy. It's very similar to a later type of coin featured in the late Roman Empire, the fallen horseman type. But in this particular example, since it's a much larger coin, they were able to put a whole lot of extra detail. So it's a lovely reverse, quite hard to find actually. It took a while for me to find this type, and another lovely example. We then get to Antioch, right at the eastern part of the empire. As I mentioned in my previous comment, very sharp lines, very straight lines when making the design, but still, as a coin, as a store of wealth, very good. Very heavy coins came out of Antioch, quite a lot of silvering, as you can see, a lot of silvering in this coin. It has some deposits, probably from the hoard, over its surface. I might get these removed sometime in the future, but once more, like, I like the silvering in these coins so much that I don't want to risk scratching the silvering. So frankly, the coin looks great. It's a substantial example, high quality for the mint of Antioch, which every once in a while makes some crappy looking coins, but this one is all right. So yeah, a really nice example from an Eastern mint. For the reverse, we have once more the Bicaracta type, so 2 characters. But this time, to the right, we have the emperor holding an orb representing the world, and to the left, we have like this female character, probably Victoria, holding a laurel wreath. And the legends are interesting. This is like a little shout out to Aurelian. Aurelian was called the Restitutor Orbis, the restorer of the world. So here Probus is getting the title for himself. We then get to this awful looking thing here. This is from a mint called the 4th Eastern Mint, because we don't know where this particular mint was. We know it was to the east of the empire. We know it was a mint that was set up for a short period of time when Probus was dealing with an usurper, and you can really see that this mint probably had a very temporary, a very quick and out of the blue thing to it, because they weren't able to find good die engravers. So the dies are just very schematic. The bust is ugly, but once more, as a storage of wealth, the coin is big, the coin has a lot of silvering, the coin is substantial. So as a coin, as money, it was high quality, and the soldiers back then didn't care about the ugly busts of Probus. They just wanted to be paid in decent cash. The reverse, once more, the Bicaracta, the 2 characters. Once more, Jupiter to the right, the Emperor to the left, and Clementia Temporum with nearly perfect silvering. A nice little reverse. We then go once more back to the Mint of Rome, and notice how crazy the patina in this coin looks like. The silvering in this example was almost gone. As you can see, it has been worn off, but it still has in the fields this golden hue to it, which on one side makes it incredibly hard to film and to capture it, but on the other hand, having it on hand and playing around with the lighting and how it reflects on the coin gives it these really lovely highlights of different colors. So a typical coin of the typical military bust without shields or anything, and in this example you can actually notice the little gorgon on his chest piece a little bit better. So yeah, another nice little example from the city of Rome. On the reverse we have Victory carrying a little tropaion, the military trophy that they would erect on the sides of victorious battles with captured weapons and armor of the captured enemies. So another really nice example. The Victory types are quite common as well, so it's another nice beginner piece. And finally, to wrap it up, we have a coin from Alexandria. So to the Far East, Alexandria and the whole province of Egypt had sort of like a special economic zone. No coins from outside could circulate in Egypt. They had to be exchanged by their own local currency, and yeah, inside of Egypt, only these coins could circulate. This is a tetradrachma, and it's crazy to think that the tetradrachma was once an impressive silver coin, but by this time it was just this minuscule, crappy little bronze coin, basically. This coin has probably as much silver content as the previous Antoniniani I've shown you, which have 5% silver, but these were supposed to have a much higher value. So it shows you how nasty inflation can get. On the reverse, we have this lovely eagle. The eagle is very common on coins of Alexandria, and although like the obverse I've just shown you isn't as remarkable looking, the reverses of Romano-Egyptian coins are fascinating. They have local deities. They have, as you can see in this example, it really pops out of the flan. It's another very fun, it's a very fun niche to collect, and probably I'll make a video about this sometime in the future. So yeah, a really nice example of a coin from Roman Egypt. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little quick test, Probus presentation. I don't know how to call this video. Here's a random coin of Hadrian I filmed to test the lighting. So please let me know in the comment section down below, how do you like this kind of setup, and how do you like seeing coins? Do you like them zoomed in really close? Do you like them further away? Yeah, let me know how you like them. Happy collecting, and I'll see you people soon.